This is the state of Wisconsin versus ANTWON DEVONTE 26 CF 703. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Good afternoon. Attorney Jessica GIBSON appears in person along with ANTWON DEVONTE also in person.
Right. Have you received a copy of the complaint?
We have received a copy of the complaint. I can confirm that the address as listed is correct. Mr. Amos stands mute to all charges and we preserve all jurisdictional objections.
Right. You have a private attorney representing you today, Mr. Amos. We can give you contact information for the public defender if you'd like, just so you have it in case something happens. Would you like that information? Yeah. I find probable cause in the complaint. What are the state's recommendations?
Your Honor, the state will be recommending $50,000 cash bail. The state will ask for non-monetary conditions: that the defendant first not operate a motor vehicle, second, that he not use or possess any controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription, that he not possess or consume any alcohol, that he have no contact with the family of VTL. I believe that is all of the requested conditions. In terms of support for that cash bail, I would note the nature of the offense. Obviously, this is a very serious offense. There is, at least at this point, the potential for further charges should the defendant's blood come back with controlled substances in it. The state does have reason to believe that that may be the case. I will also note the behavior on scene, with the defendant fleeing the scene of an accident causing the death of another. Given that behavior, the state does have concern that, given the exposure, the defendant may not voluntarily appear at future proceedings, and would ask for substantial cash bail.
Attorney GIBSON.
Thank you, Commissioner. We are asking for a signature bond. Mr. Amos was born and raised in Madison. He graduated from Sun Prairie High School and has a very extensive support network here. He lives with his wife and two children who are 6 and 7 years old. His mother also lives in town, his two brothers, an aunt, and his sister. He's employed full-time at Proactive Engineering in Sun Prairie. Underlying the charges in this case is an extremely tragic accident. Witnesses on the scene report, including in the probable cause statement, that the individual that was hit was walking in the lane of traffic and that other cars had to swerve to avoid him. It was extremely dark. Speed was not an issue in this case. Mr. Amos was given a breath test on the scene and he blew a 0.0. So there's no indication that alcohol or any other drugs were involved. Mr. Amos actually did stop initially to check on the person before, and spoke with a witness who he asked to call 911, and he also had the passenger of his own vehicle call 911. A witness reported that it looked like Mr. Amos was having some kind of panic attack or mental breakdown. He drove about 30 to 60 seconds down the road and then stopped again. So he did not flee the scene. He was not pulled over by the police as he was driving down the road. He was just a mere less than a minute away. Mr. Amos, or this court, excuse me, has no reason to believe that he's not going to show up for his court dates. His support system within the community is strong. He's lived here his entire life. He has a full-time job. He's never missed court appearances in the past. And his ties to the community, generally speaking, ensure that he will be here. He did stop initially. Mentally, he was having an extremely difficult time, but this was not a case where he hit a pedestrian and fled the scene. He stopped voluntarily just down the road. And like I mentioned, it was pitch black, and witnesses on the scene reported that unfortunately this pedestrian was in the lane of traffic and other drivers had to swerve to avoid him. And unfortunately, Mr. Amos did end up hitting him. So for those reasons, we would ask the court to set a signature bond in this matter.
Right. Any response from the state?
I will just note for the court's record, I did see a bench warrant issued out of Rock County. It's very dated. I believe it was from 2014, but I'll just make that point. And then I'll also note, I forgot to mention this in my initial argument. The defendant, this particular incident is an Act 3 eligible offense. The defendant does have a prior Act 3 eligible conviction, on his record. That's Dane County case 2010 CF 176. The defendant was found guilty of robbery, use of force as party to a crime.
All right.
If I may, Commissioner, just note that Mr. Amos, at the time of that 2010 case, was either 17 or 18 years old. He was still in high school.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I'm not going to give it much, if any, weight. Here, what's concerning to me is, and I'm looking at the complaint. Let's see. I'm looking at page 4, the first full paragraph. There's a records check, and I'm summarizing here. There was a records check conducted. Mr. Amos did not have a license issued, and it was in a suspended status. He's been convicted of operating while suspended 3 times. There's some question here about whether there were any controlled substances being used. There was, I believe it was referred to as, parties can correct me if I'm misremembering wrong, marijuana shake. Here it is. It's on page 4 again, under the heading contact with QMD. Oh, that's not where it is. Regardless, there's marijuana found in the vehicle. The officers noted a smell of marijuana coming from Mr. Amos. This is an Act 3 eligible offense. I get there may be some mitigating conditions, but here I think $50,000 is reasonable. There's a strong, given the charges, there's a strong motivation or a strong motivator to flee. I understand he has ties to the community, but these are quite serious charges. I'll also order that Mr. Amos not operate a motor vehicle, that he not use or possess any controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription, that he not consume or possess any alcohol, and that he have no contact with the family of VTL. These are felony level offenses, which means Mr. Amos is entitled to have a preliminary hearing within a certain amount of time. Those time limits be kept or waived.
We will not be waiving that today. Thank you.
Okay, we'll keep the time limits in place then, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, Joseph, Matt.
Thanks.
What's the word I was looking for?
Yes.
This is the state of Wisconsin versus Joseph Madden, 26 CF 698. I have appearances, please.
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Joseph Madden appears in person and with counsel Amber LACKEY. Your Honor, we have received a copy of the complaint and I would waive its reading. I would ask the court to enter not guilty, please, as to the misdemeanor counts, and the address is correct on the complaint.
Did you say Mr. Madden is eligible for a public defender?
I don't know if he is, but I'm privately retained.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Oh, that's fine.
Would you like information on how to contact the public defender in case something falls through or no? Okay. You have the right to have an attorney represent you in a case like this. I find probable cause in the complaint. What are the state's recommendations?
The state has no objection to a signature bond. The state would ask for the sole non-monetary condition that the defendant be banned from all Costco locations.
That's fine, Commissioner. I know we're agreeing on the signature bond, but I'll just say anyway for the court's benefit that Mr. Madden has been a lifelong resident of the area and is employed full time. I'm just gonna say that the beginning of this case has been pretty untoward. I've been in practice for 23 years and I had an agreement with law enforcement that he could report this week. And he was taken from his house and then kept down in the basement for 3 days. It's highly unusual. So I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if there's anything we can do about it, but it's been extremely traumatizing for him, especially thinking that he had an agreement to report yesterday or today with Officer Friedag. So I just want to put that on record.
Very good. So I'll order a signature bond with the condition that you're banned from Costco's, okay? I don't know what's going on with that other stuff, but you can have a conversation with your attorney about that, okay? To get that sorted out. I'll enter a not guilty plea to count 2. Count 1 is a felony. You're entitled to have a prelim.
We would waive time limits on the prelim, Commissioner.
We'll waive time limits on that prelim then. I think that's all I can do for the parties today. So we are adjourned.
Okay.
Thank you.
Should get out.
Next is Angela Hernandez.
Pam, are you asking for a signature? This is not for.
Yeah.
Hey. That for Evan.
This is the state of Wisconsin versus Angela Hernandez, 26 CM 664. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Angela R. Hernandez appears in person with attorney Jason Gonzalez. Your Honor, we have received a copy of the criminal complaint. Waive its formal reading, enter not guilty pleas to both counts. The address at 1141 West Main Street, apartment 411 in Sun Prairie is correct.
All right. Ms. Hernandez, you have the right to have an attorney represent you in a case like this, okay? I find probable cause in the complaint. What are the state's recommendations?
The state has no objection to a signature bond. I would ask for the sole non-monetary condition that the defendant make no acts or threats of violence towards Irving P.O. Irving is spelled with an I.
No objection.
Okay. So, I will enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. I'll order a signature bond with the condition that you make no acts or threats of violence to Irving P.O. This is kind of the lowest level we do on bond for charges like this. So if you come back with more cases with Irving as a victim, or if you're not abiding by the conditions, that bail can be, the conditions can be escalated, okay, to a straight no contact. It could include an address ban with GPS monitoring, which can be quite onerous, okay? So now's your chance to do what you need to do, okay? All right. I believe that's all I can do for the parties today. So we are adjourned.
Thank you.
I'll enter not guilty, please, if I forgot to say it.
Okay, sounds good.
Gregory Lee Morris.
This is the state of Wisconsin versus Gregory Morris, 26 CF 705. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Gregory Morris appears in person by counsel attorney Eric Becker-Bros from the Public Defender's Office.
All right, we're here on an extradition. Have you had the chance to speak with Mr. Morris?
Yes,
All right. Are we expecting this to be a go? Are we waiving?
we expect to waive extradition.
Okay, so. Thank you. You have the right to have an attorney represent you at hearings like this, all right? You have the right to something called habeas, which is coming to court, making the state present its case that you are who's alleged in the complaint, that you're the person that, I believe it's what was it?
Indiana.
Okay, that's what I thought. That you're the person that Indiana is looking for. It's not about the charges, it's just whether you're that person, okay? So you wish to waive, that's correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, and have you had enough time to speak with your attorney about what all that means?
I did.
Okay.
I did.
All right, do you have any questions for me?
No, I sure don't.
Okay, then you can sign this form, and once it's signed, I'll sign it. All right?
Yes, yeah, so this is just So Wisconsin and Indiana, that you have been advised about the rights of tradition and be upfront with them, and that you don't want to make that a petition.
Got it. And I should also note, you're also waiving the right to have me set bail. Typically bail isn't set less than 10% of what the receiving state's asking for. But if by signing that, you're giving up your right to bail. Do you understand that?
So,
Jim?
so Leslie, you meant, Wisconsin don't have 10%, right?
No,
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I do.
okay.
So it's
Right here.
there, yeah.
Thank you. Is there anything else I can do for the parties today then?
I think so. We're okay.
Then we are adjourned. Thank you.
And I'll-
Next is ALYSSA Walden here in Leah.
Ms. Walden, can you hear us all right?
Yes, I'm able to hear you.
All right, this is the state of Wisconsin versus ALYSSA Walden, 26 CF 712. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
ALYSSA Walden appears by Zoom by Counsel Attorney Erica Becker-Bros from the Public Defender's Office. Ms. Walden, I have it noted that you don't wish for public defender representation. Would you like me to still represent you at this hearing?
Yes, absolutely. I'd like to represent myself.
Okay. And is your address on East Dean Avenue still correct?
Yes.
Okay. The address on file is correct, and she does not wish for public defender services.
Okay, but you'll represent her?
Yes, yes, for the limited purposes of
All
today.
right, so you have the right to have an attorney represent you, ma'am. I think most people find it to be helpful, but you can, of course, represent yourself if you're competent to do so, all right? We'll make sure to include some information with you on how to contact the public defender in case you change your mind at a later date, okay? Do you understand that, ma'am?
I used to work with a paralegal, so I think I'm able to represent myself. And I have a degree in communication. I have a
Okay.
degree in communication, so I'd like to apply my degree and speak for myself.
Okay, well, you said you wanted to have your attorney here today represent you, but I understand what you're saying, okay? I find probable cause in the
Yes,
complaint
paralegal. I'm an attorney.
states recommendations.
The state is going to be recommending $3,000 cash bail, LS for non-monetary conditions, that the defendant have no contact with child victim 1 for the sake of expediency. That individual has the initials ISW. The state would ask further for the defendant to have no contact with any juveniles. And I guess I will also request that that as a condition of bail, the defendant take all prescribed medications as prescribed. In terms of support for the cash bail request, as well as the fairly stringent non-monetary requests, I would note the defendant here is charged with an Act 3 offense involving her own minor child. This incident arose while the defendant was on bail for a case in which she violently resisted law enforcement officers. The defendant is also a diagnosed schizophrenic based on the information the state has, and is currently, or at least at the time of this incident, not taking prescribed medications. Those factors make the state concerned about her willingness to voluntarily appear in court, given these severe charges she is now facing. With regards to the non-monetary conditions, the state does believe that the no contact conditions are necessary to protect both the child victim and the public. The defendant, according to my notes, previously pleaded guilty to what is referred to as predatory criminal sexual assault of a child out of Chicago, Illinois. That's back from 2018. That was another sexual assault of another one of the defendant's children. She has since lost custody of that child. Given that behavior previously, the behavior of the case that she's currently on bail for, the fact that she committed this offense while on bail, as well as the other issues as outlined by the state, I think the cash bail and the non-monetary conditions are appropriate.
And was that $3,000?
It was.
On behalf of Ms. Walden?
Your Honor, we would ask for $500 cash bail in this situation. We agree that this is an Act 3 eligible offense and the allegations in the complaint are serious. I would note that she has no prior convictions, although she does have that pending case. Again, she has no prior convictions and she has no failures to appear. I'm not concerned about her ability to appear at future court appearances. I understand that there's a need to protect the community, and that's an important factor in this analysis. I do think that that is sufficiently protected via the no contact order and ensuring that she cannot see the minor child victim or being in contact with other juveniles. I think that that's sufficient in order to protect the community. So in this case, although it is an Act 3 eligible offense, I do think that $3,000 is a little bit high for this, given that I see no reason that she would not appear in the future at court.
All right, and you said there's no objection to the take prescribed meds condition as well?
I would object to that, Your Honor. I don't think it would be appropriate to force her to take medication without further court proceedings on that case.
Any response from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Honestly, I think $3,000 is too low. We have somebody accused of quite an egregious offense. It's an Act 3 eligible offense. There's priors out of in Illinois of another egregious sexual assault. I mean, I think $10,000 is appropriate. I'm going to order that you have no contact with ISW, that you have no contact with any juvenile. I'm not going to order the take prescribed meds at this point. There's just not enough information at a hearing like this for me to feel comfortable making that order. This is a felony. Will the time limits for the prelim be kept or waived?
They'll be kept.
Okay, we'll keep the time limits in place then. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
There's a little bit of noise and you're relying on, was it 10,000 hours?
10,000, correct.
Next is Quincy Moses.
It's not.
This is the State of Wisconsin versus Quincy Moon, 26 CM 666. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Quincy Moon appears in person by counsel attorney Erica Becker-Brose from the Public Defender's Office. He's received a copy of the complaint and we waive its formal reading. The address on file is correct and he is eligible for public defender services.
You have the right to have an attorney represent you in a case like this. You're eligible for the public defender. They're going to work on getting somebody appointed to your case, okay? I find probable cause in the complaint. What are the state's recommendations?
That's correct.
Yep.
Yes.
Do we have somebody who identifies as a victim in Mr. Moon's case? And if so, and you'd like to make a statement, please unmute.
Hello,
And hi, can you identify yourself either using your initials, your first name and last initial, or something else?
my name is Annette White and I am Quincy Moon's mother.
And what would you like me to know for the hearing today, ma'am?
For this hearing today, I would like for you to know that he is with Journey. We have just diagnosed him and he has meds that he has been taking. I think this is more of an issue that I really need more therapy and help with the mental ward with my son. He's not a criminal. He don't sell drugs or violence to people, but he has valid intentions with the people that he lived with, because he does not go outside. No girlfriends, no friends. It's just the people that live in the house with me, and I am his mother, and he lives with me. I am seeking help me. My son does have a mental issue, and the last time we went to court was because I fought him. I had to fight him. And then he did go to the hospital on his own and speak to Journey and tell Journey that he has issues and he's hearing things. Journey did see him, put him on medication. I have been taking him to clinic. His clinic is on Cottage Grove. But I need more help than just that.
All right, thank you, ma'am. What's the state's recommendation?
The state's going to request $250 cash bail. I will request non-monetary conditions that the defendant first have no contact with Annette W, spelled ANNETTE. That the defendant have no contact with Jordan N. And that the defendant have no contact with Leanne W. Leanne is spelled LEANN. It's Leanne H, I apologize, not Leanne W.
And was that Jordan N as in Nancy?
Yes, it was. I would also request a ban from the 2900 block of Coho Street in Madison. While this is not the most egregious behavior in the world, it is the defendant's third open case for the same sort of conduct. Given the repeat violations of bond, the state does believe that some amount of cash bail at this point is appropriate. I'll leave it at that.
Right. Response?
Your Honor, we would ask for a signature bond. In this case, he doesn't have any other failures to appear, so I don't think it's going to be an issue that he'll appear in court. He also has no other criminal history other than those two open cases. I would note that as we heard, he is attending therapy and taking meds. I think that the no contact order with AW would be difficult considering it appears that she is the one that is helping him get to therapy. I think that based on the victim's wishes that he continue to get help. I think that makes it difficult for him. Again, I don't have worries about his ability to appear in court, and I would want him to continue getting the help that he is getting at the moment. And I'd want to make sure that he's able to get that.
Any response to the state?
No, Your Honor.
Right. Well, we're on Mr. Moon's third open case. That leads me to believe that some cash is appropriate. You know, this isn't the type of hearing where I can order treatment or I can, you know, lock somebody out to get the help that they might need. I'm looking at, you know, setting orders where somebody putting things in place that assure somebody's going to show up for court, and conditions that will protect the public. Here, I think $250 cash is appropriate. And I believe there needs to be some sort of separation, at least now. These are bail conditions and not permanent orders, but for the time being, I think the no contact with Annette W, the no contact with Jordan N, and the no contact with Leanne H are appropriate. And I'll also order the ban from the 2900 block of Coho Street in Madison. Sir, I noticed that's your mailing address. Is there another spot where you can receive your mail? And would you let your attorney know that address? And your attorney can tell us?
Is my sister's address?
Okay, it's his sister's address. He doesn't know it off the top of his head, but
Okay.
We can update the court once we have that information.
Excellent. I would appreciate that. These are all misdemeanors, so I'll enter not guilty pleas on your behalf, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
Next is Martin Lackey.
Lackey?
This is the state of Wisconsin versus Martin Lackey Jr., 26 CF 702. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Martin Lackey appears in person by counsel attorney Erica Becker-Rose for the Public Defender's Office. He has received a copy of the complaint and we waive its formal reading. I need one moment to speak with my client about the address on file.
Very good.
Your Honor, we would update that address to 1818 Aberg Avenue,
1818 or 1819?
19. Yeah,
Okay, yep, the job center. Okay, we'll get that address updated in our system then. All
and he is eligible for public defender services.
right. You have the right to have an attorney represent you in a case like this. You're eligible for the public defender. They're gonna work on getting somebody appointed for you, okay? If they haven't already found somebody for you. I find probable cause in the complaint. And we have a victim who wishes to make a statement. If there's somebody who identifies as a victim in this case, can you please unmute? All right.
Yes,
And can you identify yourself using your initials, your first name and last initial, or some other way?
Stephanie Z.
And is Stephanie common spelling? Is that correct?
Yeah, PH, yep.
And what would you like me to know today?
I just wrote something, because I'm not the best with like speaking loud, so I just wanted to write something. I heard the charges and I just wanted to make it aware, that's not who he is. And I'd just like you to take my words into consideration, because I feel like he's being painted something he's not over one incident. He's somebody that, he's gone to therapy, he's done things to, improve himself every day. I kind of feel like the charges are kind of exaggerated. And I know I have no say in that, but I was just hoping you'd listen. I just like to acknowledge, he does take strides to make himself better. He's a family man. He takes the time. I just think the charges and the offenses, it's just something that would really like hurt his life. And I mean, he's not a violent person. And I just think he deserves a better chance than what they're putting at him.
All right. One thing the state might ask for in a case like this is a no contact condition. Do you have an opinion on that?
We do have 2 children together. That's kind of the only thing. I mean, very father, very much in their lives every day. So, I mean, I would say contact would kind of be necessary in a way.
Okay, thank you. What's the state's recommendation?
The state is going to be recommending $1,000 cash bail. I will ask for non-monetary conditions that the defendant first have no contact with Stephanie Z, and that he not possess or consume any alcohol. In terms of support for that cash bail request, I will note the violence of the offense. There are multiple Act 3 eligible charges at hand here. I will also note 1 prior bench warrant on a traffic-related case that was out of Sauk County from November 6th of 2025. Also, I have found that the court may be curious about this. I did take a look for prior cases between the defendant and Stephanie Z. I did not see any prior criminal cases. There was a referral to our office from around this time last year that resulted in a no prosecution.
Okay. On behalf of Mr. Lackey.
Your Honor, we would ask for a signature bond in this case. As noted, we understand that this is an Act 3 eligible offense. He doesn't have a criminal history. He has that single failure to appear as noted, but it was explained at the time as a housing issue. It appears that from what I can see, that was an understandable excuse. I would note that he does have these 2 children. He owns a business in the area. He's very involved with his family. I don't think it's going to be an issue that he will appear in court in the future. In terms of need to protect the community, I understand these are serious allegations. I do think that it would be sufficient to have a no contact order with SZ. Again, he has no prior violent convictions, so I don't think that there's a reason to think that this will have a wider impact. And I think as long as there's that no contact order, that is sufficient to keep the protection. Although I would ask that there is an exception to that no contact order in order to, for the limited purposes of arranging childcare and seeing his own children. I do think that in this case, as noted, he's a family man. It seems like what is alleged is quite out of character. I do think that a signature bond is appropriate here. And I think that the questions about keeping the safety are adequately addressed with the no contact order.
All right. And your client is good with the no contact, he's understand what that means?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Any response from the state?
No, Your Honor.
So I'm concerned by what's in the complaint. You know, domestic violence is a problem in this community, especially when it occurs in front of kids. However, I understand these are allegations at this point. You have a lack of criminal history, which is good. So given the no contact that I'll order today, except for the purposes of childcare, I'm comfortable with a signature bond. Bond is flexible though, which means if there's violations, it can be increased. You want something to change, you need to come back to court and get it changed by the court. You can't make that change on your own, and you can't try to skirt around the issue, because if you get caught, it's likely going to be another felony charge, felony bail jumping. Do you understand that? So it's going to be important that you comply with this, and if you want to change, you got to come back to court to get it changed, okay? Do you understand that?
As far as it, like the no contact, so.
Anything, the no contact, and the other things I'm going to order, okay? But I want you to understand, usually it's the no contact that's the biggest hurdle. Want that change, you gotta come back to court first, all right? So I'll order a signature bond with the conditions that you have no contact with Stephanie Z, except for the purposes of childcare, that you not consume or possess any alcohol. I'll enter not guilty pleas as to counts 2 and 3. Count 1 is a felony. Will the time limits for the prelim be kept or waived?
We will waive, Your Honor.
We'll waive the time limits for having that preliminary hearing then. And we are adjourned. Thank you.
Next is HERSHEL Stanley, appearing in Zones.
Can I leave the Zoom?
Yes, ma'am, if you'd like to.
Okay. Thank you.
And Mr. Stanley, can you hear us all right? If so, you can just give me a thumbs up or let me know verbally.
Can you see me?
Yep, we can see you. This is the State of Wisconsin versus HERSHEL Stanley, 26 CF 711. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
HERSHEL Stanley appears by Zoom by counsel attorney Eric Becker-Brose from the Public Defender's Office. Would it be possible to have a few minutes to speak with the client at this time?
Sure, you're talking about off the record, right?
Yes.
That's fine by me. If there's anybody else you think you need to speak to,
I
don't know if
believe it
it's
is.
possible to accomplish that. Okay. Hey, Mr. Stanley, your attorney is going to come back and have a chat with you, okay? And then we'll go back on the record for your hearing in a little bit after that, all right? So just hang in there and we'll get you going again. We'll be adjourned just briefly.
I do.
Okay, thank you. Pre-drop is one of these. Yeah. Well, even. Okay.
This is Dane County versus Jonathan Stevens, 26 FO 506. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the people of Dane County. The defendant appears in person, in custody without counsel.
All right. And you're Mr. Stevens, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the state has decided to charge your case as an ordinance violation instead of as a criminal violation. I expect there will be an offer to resolve your case today. They've charged with county disorderly conduct. What that means is about the offer to resolve is whether you decide to resolve today or not, you'll be unconditionally released from custody for this case. However, if you have other cases, they could affect your release. And is there an offer to resolve?
The county would resolve for court costs.
All right. So you have an absolute right to plead not guilty, and we can set this case for further proceedings. Otherwise, you can enter a no contest or guilty plea, and you'd be fined $114.50. Payment of that amount could be arranged through the clerk of courts, and you'd have 60 days to pay. Would you like to resolve your case today?
No contest?
Okay, I'll accept your no contest plea. I'll adjudicate you guilty. I'll enter a fine in the amount of $114.50. And do you have a good mailing address for you?
Right now it's the job center, but the reason I'm pleading no contest is because I have my social security card and my photo ID at the job center now. With those two things, I will get my address for you. It would be at the Tellurion as soon as I do.
Okay,
But for right now, it's the job center. So.
okay, well, get that updated, your address to the job center then,
Yeah.
and we are adjourned.
Thank you.
Can't hear you.
All right, we're back on the record in the state of Wisconsin versus HERSHEL Stanley, 26 CF 711. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
HERSHEL Stanley appears by Zoom by counsel attorney Eric Becker-Brose from the Public Defender's Office. He has received a copy of the complaint and we waive its formal reading. The address on file is incorrect. I do have a partial address for you, but we'll need to update it with the court. The address that we have is 19 Russian Ice Trail.
No, I think it's 9-1. It's the Queen Turner's house on Russian Heights Trail. I can't remember the address.
Mr. Stanley, we'll update it.
Huh?
We'll be able to update it.
Yeah.
And at this time, we do not know about his eligibility for public defender services, but he has agreed to have me represent him in a limited capacity today.
All right. So what you should do, sir, is if you'd like a public defender, make sure to apply with them as soon as possible. The summer's coming up and their wait lists get exceptionally long in the summer. So
Yes.
if you delay applying, other people will jump ahead of you on the list, okay?
I'll do it today.
Very good. And we'll get you that information as well. I find probable cause in the complaint. What are the state's recommendations?
The state has, oh, I apologize. I am not in the right file. We're gonna have no objection to a signature bond. I know that. Sorry, I had all that time and did not pull it up. Yes, no objection to a signature bond. I would ask for non-monetary conditions that the defendant have no contact with Sergeant Variale, spelled V-A-R-I-A-L-E, except for in their official capacity as a law enforcement officer, and that the defendant not use or possess any controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription.
Your Honor, we have no objection to either the bond or the non-monetary conditions.
All right. So, Mr. Stanley, I'll order a signature bond with the conditions that you not use or possess any controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription, and that you have no contact with Sergeant Variale except in their official capacity. I'll enter not guilty pleas to counts 3 and 4. Counts 1 and 2 are felonies. Will the time limits be kept or waived?
We will keep those, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll keep the time limits for the preliminary hearing in place then, and we are adjourned. Thank you, sir.
Next will be ASHOK, RASAIAH, appearing via Zoom.
What's that? You're up. You all?
All right, this is the state of Wisconsin versus ASHOK RASAIAH, 26 CF 706. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
ASHOK RASAIAH appears by Zoom by counsel attorney Eric Becker-Brose from the Public Defender's Office. He has received a copy of the complaint and we waive its formal reading. Mr. RASAIAH, is your address on Meadowwood Drive still correct? Sorry, could you repeat that? Oh, it looks like they've been muted.
This one. 5214 Meadowwood Drive, Pittsburgh, Wisconsin 53711.
Yes,
It's
the address on file is correct, and he is eligible for public defender services.
All right, you have the right to have an attorney represent you, sir. The public defender is going to work on getting somebody appointed, okay? If somebody hasn't already been appointed in a separate case.
volume very low. If you please increase some volume.
I find probable cause in the complaint. What are the state's recommendations?
The state has no objection to a signature bond. I would ask for non-monetary conditions that the defendant first have no contact with Katisha R, spelled K-A-T-E-S-H-A. No contact with her family or her residence, and that the defendant not possess or consume any alcohol.
So no contact with Katisha R, their family, their residents, no alcohol.
That is correct.
Right. On behalf of Mr. RASAIAH.
We have no objection to the signature bond or the non-monetary conditions.
All right, so I will enter not guilty pleas to counts 3 and 4. I'll order a signature bond with the conditions that you have no contact with Katisha R, Katisha R's family, or their residents. I'll order that you not consume or possess any alcohol. Counts 1 and 2 are felonies. Will the time limits for the preliminary hearing be kept or waived?
We will waive those, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll waive the time limits then for the prelim. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you, Mr. RASAIAH.
Next is Andre Meeks, appearing via Zoom.
All right, do we have Mr. Meeks? Sorry, do we have Mr. Meeks? All right, I think I heard a yes. This is the state of Wisconsin versus Andre Meeks, 26 CM 665. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Andre Meeks appears by Zoom by counsel attorney Eric Becker-Bros from the Public Defender's Office. He has received a copy of the complaint and we waive its formal reading. I do have an updated address for the court. That address is 3722 West Karstens, which is Karstens Drive. Mr. Meeks, is there an apartment number?
I heard him say apartment 4.
Yes, I believe so as well.
Okay, we'll get that address updated then, sir. And is he eligible?
I do not have information about his eligibility, but he has asked that I represent him in the limited capacity today.
All right. So if you'd like to have a public defender represent you, sir, you should give them a call and complete the evaluation process. We'll give you some paperwork with that information. All right. But make sure to get that done as soon as possible because they do have a long wait list, okay?
And Commissioner, it does look like in Mr. Meeks' open case, he has an attorney through the Public Defender's Office. He would need to apply again.
Okay, yep, so you'll just need to apply again and they should get that same attorney in your open case assigned to this one, all right? But that's a process they'll handle after you apply. I find probable cause in the complaint. What are the state's recommendations?
The state has no objection to a signature bond. I would ask for non-monetary conditions that the defendant first have no contact with Kishi W, spelled Kishie, that the defendant be banned from the 100 block of South Fair Oaks Avenue in Madison, that the defendant not use or possess any dangerous weapons as that term is defined by statute.
On behalf of Mr. Meeks.
We have no objection to the signature bond or those non-monetary conditions, Your Honor.
All right. Then, Mr. Meeks, I'll enter not guilty pleas on your behalf. I'll order a signature bond with the conditions that you have no contact with Kishi W, that you're banned from the 100 block of South Fair Oaks, and that you not use or possess any dangerous weapons as that term is defined by statute. That's all I can do for you today, I believe, sir. So we are adjourned. Thank you.
Next will be Samuel Germany, appearing via Zoom.
Mr. Germany, can you hear us all right?
Yes, I can.
All right, we'll get your case called and get going. This is the state of Wisconsin versus Samuel Germany, 26 CF 697. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Samuel Germany appears by Zoom by counsel attorney Eric Becker-Bros from the Public Defender's Office. He has received a copy of the complaint and we waive its formal reading. The address on file is correct and I do not have information about his eligibility for public defender services, but he has agreed to have me appear in my limited capacity today.
All right, so you might be able to be represented by a public defender if you'd like. The first step you'll have to do is apply with them, okay? Make sure to complete that process as soon as possible if that's how you want to proceed, because they have a wait list and that wait list gets extra long in the summer, okay? So you want to, all right. find probable-
Absolutely, I will. Will I be able to get a signature bond?
We'll have a discussion about that here shortly, okay? I find probable cause in the complaint. What are the state's recommendations?
The state will be requesting $1,000 cash bail. I'll ask for the sole non-monetary condition that the defendant not use or possess any controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription. In terms of support for that cash bail request, I will note the defendant did just post $100 cash bail in an open case only 2 days before this incident. The defendant is now on 4 open cases. I believe all of those are in Dane County. The defendant does also have recent bench warrants from February 27th, February 11th, both of this year, and January 22nd of 2024.
All right, Attorney Becker Rose.
Your Honor, we would ask for a signature bond in this case, or no more than $100. Although there are these failures to appear in his history, I think that there's quite a difference between being able to post a $100 bond and being able to post a $1,000 bond. I think that a signature bond or a very low cash bond would be appropriate enough to ensure his appearance in the future. I would also note, as it's stated in the complaint, he has been diagnosed with Huntington's and he does need to be able to access treatment and access care. And for those reasons, we would ask for either a signature bond or a very low cash bond.
All right, any response from the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Well, we're on 4 open cases now, which leads me to believe cash is appropriate. I'm going to order $750 cash. The conditions that you not use or possess any controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription. I'm going to enter not guilty pleas to counts 3 and 4. Counts 1 and 2 are felonies. Will the time limits be kept?
We will keep the time limits, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll keep those time limits in place then, and we are adjourned. Thank you, sir.
Next is GIBSON. Oh, I'm sorry, correction. The next one will be Dylan SKRAM appearing via Zoom.
This is the state of Wisconsin versus Dylan SKRAM, 26 CF 707. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Dylan SKRAM appears by Zoom by counsel attorney Eric Becker Bros from the Public Defender's Office. He has received a copy of the complaint and we waive its formal reading. Mr. SKRAM, I have a new address for you on Parkway Drive. Is that correct?
Yeah, Parkway is my preferred.
Okay, so I have a new address. I have a new address for the court, which is 119 Parkway Drive.
And you have a code?
Oh, let me double check that.
That's in Mount Horeb, right?
53572.
I believe that is correct. And at this time, he is eligible for public defender services.
All right. So you have the right to have an attorney represent you, sir. You're eligible for the public defender. They're going to work on getting an attorney appointed for your case if one hasn't already been appointed, okay? I find probable cause in the complaint. What are the state's recommendations?
The state will be requesting $1,000 cash bail. I'll ask for non-monetary conditions that the defendant first have no contact with Tara D. Tara spelled T-A-R-A. We'll also request the defendant be banned from the 500 block of North Eau Claire Avenue in Madison. Eau Claire is spelled like the city. In terms of support for that cash bail request, I'll note the nature of the offense here. Obviously, anytime we have a fleeing and eluding case, the state is concerned about that behavior's indication of the defendant's willingness to voluntarily appear in court going forward. I think that there are certain mitigating factors here, such as the fact that the defendant was on an e-bike rather than in a car. Obviously makes it significantly less of a dangerous activity in and of itself, but I also think that there is at least one pretty aggravating factor, which is that the defendant was not sort of fleeing a traffic stop. He was fleeing a separate criminal offense that I believe, yes, included an Act 3 eligible offense. And so I think all told, the state's recommendation takes into account those aggravating and mitigating factors. I think $1,000 is appropriate.
Behalf of Mr. Skram.
Your Honor, we would ask for a signature bond or at most a $250 cash bond. I don't believe that there's going to be an issue for him to appear in court in the future. He's lived in Dane County his entire life, and he does have a good history of appearances in court. I would note that he has no previous convictions for a violent crime. And in terms of safety, I think that can be achieved with the stay away order. So I do think that safety of the community will be appropriately protected in that way. And although it is alleged that he did flee, I would, again, as he pointed out, it was on an e-bike rather than in a car, which I do think is a less of a dangerous activity. I would also note that once he was stopped, he was compliant with the police and was, by all accounts, attempting to assist. And so for that reason, we would ask for a signature bond or at most $250.
Okay, any response by the state?
No, Your Honor.
I'm going to order $250 cash. I think that is appropriate, given the fleeing, eluding behavior, even though it was on an e-bike. I will order that you have no contact with Tara D and that you're banned from the 500 block of North or Eau Claire. Was it Drive?
It was Avenue
in Madison. I'll enter not guilty pleas to the misdemeanors. Count 1 as a felony. Will the time limits be kept away?
We will keep those, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll keep the time limits for the preliminary hearing then, and we are adjourned. Thank you, sir.
Next is SHOK.
This is the state of Wisconsin versus Jacques Gibson, 26 CM 662. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Oh, sorry, one moment. Jacques Gibson appears in person by counsel attorney Erica Becker-Brose from the Public Defender's Office. He has received a copy of the complaint. We waive its formal reading. The address on file is correct, and he does qualify for public defender services.
So you have the right to have an attorney represent you, and you're eligible for the public defender. So they're going to work on getting somebody appointed to your case if somebody hasn't already been appointed, okay? I find probable cause in the complaint. It's my understanding that there may be somebody who identifies as a victim who would like to make a statement. If so, can that person please unmute?
Hi.
Hi, can you start by identifying yourself? You can use your initials, your first name and last initial, or something else.
DS.
All right, and DS, what would you like me to know today?
Well, honestly, I didn't realize that I actually had to say anything.
Oh, you don't, ma'am. I was told that you might want to make a statement. Are you saying you do not want to make a statement?
Not sure.
Okay.
I just don't know how all this works too well.
Okay. Well, we'll go to the state and continue on with the hearing. And if you'd like to say something, you can just unmute and let me know, okay?
Okay.
What's the state's recommendation?
The state has no objection to a signature bond. The state would ask for the sole non-monetary condition that the defendant have no contact with Destiny S.
Your Honor, we have no objection to a signature bond, although we would request contact with Destiny S.
And any response from the state?
No.
Your Honor, I would also note that it would appear his name is misspelled on the complaint. His name should end with an S.
Okay, It looks like there's an alias listed, also known as Jacques, spelled correctly, Trailer Gibson the third. So oftentimes, the referring agency doesn't always get the name spelled correctly, but sometimes the alias will cover that. And there's no response from the state, correct?
No.
All right. And I'll note that the person who identified as DS hasn't chimed in with their opinion. And when I run a search on Mr. Gibson's name and birth date, I don't see any recent cases. One case I do see is it's not a traffic case, it's a 2023 case. It's a misdemeanor case involving a carry concealed weapon charge. I'm going to order a signature bond with the conditions that you make no acts or threats of violence to Destiny S, okay? This is kind of the lowest level, but if you're not following that condition, it can get escalated to just a straight up no contact. And if you guys live together, that means you'd have to find somewhere else to live. Could include an address ban and GPS monitoring, which is quite onerous. It's really restrictive, okay? So please make sure you're abiding by this condition and doing what you need to do. Additionally, violations of this condition could lead to a bail jumping charge as well, okay? So I'm going to order no acts or threats of violence to Destiny S. I'll enter a not guilty plea.
Next is
Okay, we're
Christopher
adjourned.
Brown.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the name. Brown? The group file?
Is.
Well. This is the group file of bail hearing for Christopher Robert Brown, 26 GF 37019. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Christopher Brown appears in person by counsel attorney Erica Becker-Brose from the Public Defender's Office. We have not received a copy of the complaint. And so I do not have other information about his address, and it appears he's not eligible for public defender services.
I just want a copy of the complaint, though. I think we want to file in this case. Do you have a copy of the problem?
I do.
Sir, do you have a good mailing address we can use for you?
I do.
Would you provide it to my clerk right now?
Yes, 1105 Lincoln Road in Oregon, 53575.
All right, we're here for a group file case, so there hasn't been a case charged yet, but the state might pursue charges at a later date. We'll have a conversation about what that looks like procedurally afterwards, okay? What are the state's recommendations?
The state has no objection to a signature bond. I would ask for non-monetary conditions that the defendant have no unsupervised contact with any minors, and that the defendant not access any social media sites or applications. The state would ask for an ordering date on Thursday, April 30th. If that is possible, it looks like we need a little over 30 days for our follow-up.
Your Honor, we would have no objection to the signature bond or the no unsupervised contact with minors. I would apologize. I would object to the no access to social media or applications. I think that that can be more narrowly tailored. But we are fine with this signature bond.
All right, and any response from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, it looks like according to the PC statement that there was an application called Whisper that was used to used in this case. So what I'll do is I'll order a signature bond. I'll order that you have no unsupervised contact with minors. I'll order that you're not to use the Whisper app. And just to be clear, no unsupervised contact with minors includes in person, electronically, by email, by snail mail. No contact means no contact, okay? Well, does the order and date of April 30th work?
I believe so.
Okay, so we'll get this set for an IA at that date. The state will either file something by that time, or you'll be released from the bond at no hearing, okay? But until that time, it's going to be important that you comply with the conditions of bond, because if you don't, you could be charged with a crime called bail jumping, okay? And it would be felony level bail jumping, all right? That works. Very good. So with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Next is Marquis Smith.
This is the state of Wisconsin versus Marquis Smith, 26 CF 699. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Marquis Smith appears in person by counsel attorney Erica Becker-Bros from the Public Defender's Office. He has received a copy of the complaint. We waive its formal reading. The address on file is correct, and he is not eligible for public defender services.
So you have the right to have an attorney represent you in a case like this. We'll give you information for the public defender. If you feel like your situation has changed and you might be eligible now, for example, due to the loss of a job, you can give them a call to reapply. Okay, Mr. Smith? Do you understand that, Mr. Smith? Can you answer out loud?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I find problem causing the complaint. What are these state's recommendations?
The state is requesting $500 cash bail. I will request non-monetary conditions that the defendant first have no contact with Austin W. Second, that the defendant have no contact with Kaila T. That is spelled Kaila. That the defendant be banned from all BP gas stations, and that the defendant not use or possess any dangerous weapons, as that term is defined by statute. In terms of the support for the cash bail, that largely boils down to the nature of the offense. The defendant is committing an Act 3 eligible offense while on bail for, if you give me 1 second to double check, an Act 3 eligible offense. And given that the state does believe an increase in cash bail is appropriate.
Behalf of Mr. Smith.
Your Honor, we would ask for a signature bond in this case with no arguments about the no contact orders. I don't believe that he'll have any issues appearing in court. He has a single case with no other criminal history. He has no failures to appear in that case. I don't believe that it will be an issue for him to continue to appear. I will note that he has lived in Wisconsin for over a year. I think that the need to protect the community, it's sufficient to have him stay away from the BP stores and to have no contact with the people involved in this case.
Any response from the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right, well, we've got a bail jumping as part of the charges. Got some threats to the officers made after Mr. Smith was arrested. We've got some pretty violent conduct. I'm going to order $500 cash. And I'm going to order that you have no contact with Austin W, Kaila T, that you're banned from BP gas stations. I'll also order that you not use or possess any dangerous weapons. I'll enter not guilty pleas to the misdemeanors. Count 1 is a felony, which means you're entitled to have a preliminary hearing within a certain amount of time. The time limits for that hearing be kept or waived.
We'll keep the limits, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll keep those time limits in place then, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
Next is Karma Finley.
Right this way, sister. Oh, hi.
This is the state of Wisconsin versus Karma Finley, 26 CM 671. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Karma Finley appears in person by counsel attorney Erica Becker-Bros from the Public Defender's Office. He has received a copy of the complaint. We waive its formal reading. I do have a different address for the court, which is 1020 South Sunnyvale Lane, and that zip code is 53713. He is not eligible for public defender services.
So you have the right to have an attorney represent you in a case like this. You're currently not eligible for the public defender, but if you believe your circumstances have changed such that you might be eligible, you can give them a call and reach out again and they'll reevaluate you, okay? I find probable cause in the complaint. What are the state's recommendations?
The state has no objection to a signature bond. I would ask for non-monetary conditions that the defendant make no acts or threats of violence towards Anthony N. That the defendant make no acts or threats of violence towards Laura N. Laura spelled Laura, and those are both N as in Nancy. I would also ask the defendant not possess or consume any alcohol, and that he report to Dane County Pretrial Services for remote alcohol monitoring.
You have Mr. Finley?
Your Honor, we have we agree with the signature bond and have no argument about the no acts or threats. I would ask that we not do the pretrial monitoring. He doesn't have a significant criminal history. I'm not worried about his failures to appear. It doesn't seem to be any type of pattern such that I think that pretrial services would be necessary in this case. I don't think that it's there's enough in this case that I would think that pretrial monitoring would be necessary.
Okay, any response from the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right. And can the state let me know how old AJN is?
One moment. AJN is roughly 40 years old.
40?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll enter not guilty pleas to each count. They're all misdemeanors. And looking at the complaint, I'm looking at page 3. It's the third paragraph, and it begins with Officer Rudebuck. And I'm reading off of it. She stated that throughout that time, and that's referencing the past 15 years, Karma has had a problem with drinking on and off, which has escalated recently to being a big problem. That gives me a lot of concern in it. I understand our resources with pretrial services get scarce pretty quickly, especially in the summertime. But I think it would be a good service for you, okay? So I'm going to order a signature bond. I'm going to order that, and did the state say no acts or threats to Anthony N. and Laura N.?
That is correct.
Okay. I'll order that you make no acts or threats of violence to Anthony N. or Laura N. It's my understanding that there's a 72 no-hour contact that was enforced with Anthony N. until 11:40 p.m. on March 25th, 2026, okay? So even though I'm allowing you to have contact, just no acts or threats of violence, that 72 hours is still in place, so you can't have contact with Anthony N. until 11:40 p.m. on March 25th, 2026, okay?
Tomorrow, okay,
That would be tomorrow. So tomorrow, late evening. I'm going to order that you not consume or possess any alcohol, and I'm going to order that you report to pretrial services by 10 a.m. of the next business day. So that'll be likely tomorrow. I don't think they'll be open by the time you get out. They'll conduct alcohol monitoring for you, okay? So it sounds like these are just allegations, but it sounds like there could be an issue you could work on. And I hope that helps you work on it if that's something you need, okay? I've entered not guilty, please. I believe that's all I can do for the parties today. So we are adjourned. Thank you.
Next is Malachi White.
Mr. White?
This is the state of Wisconsin versus Malachi White, 26 CM 672. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Malachi White appears in person by counsel attorney Erica Becker-Bros from the Public Defender's Office. He has received a copy of the complaint. We waive its formal reading. The address on file is correct, and he is not eligible for public defender services.
So you have the right to have an attorney represent you in a case like this. You're not eligible for a public defender, but if you believe your circumstances change, that you might be eligible, you can give them a call and reapply, okay? And you got that information there on how to do that. I find probable cause in the complaint. What are the state's recommendations?
The state has no objection to a signature bond. The state would ask for non-monetary conditions that the defendant first not use or possess any dangerous weapons, as that term is defined by statute. I would ask that the defendant be banned from the State Street and Langdon Street area. My notes indicate that the charging attorney requested a curfew for the defendant from 8 p.m. to 5 a.m. Doesn't look like we have a request for pretrial services. Looks like that curfew request was based on the defendant's age and the nature of the offense. I do not have further argument.
All right.
If I could have 1 moment to speak with my client.
Yep.
Your Honor, we have no objection to the signature bond or the dangerous weapon condition. 1 moment again. Your Honor, but we would object to the ban from the State Street area and the curfew. He is employed at Taco Bell on that State Street area, and he sometimes works such that he would get home past 8 p.m. He is in high school. He's a senior. He's been working at Taco Bell. He has no criminal history, so also no failures to appear. I think it's important that he continues to be able to work. Again, he's young, he has no other criminal history, and the ability to stay connected in his community and be able to continue working, I think, is important.
All right. Any response to the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right. I am concerned about the running from the police. But looking at the allegations, you surrendered cooperatively once you were caught. That doesn't excuse the allegations about the obstructing, but I think it does provide some important context. I'll order a signature bond with the conditions that you not use or possess any dangerous weapons, as that term is defined by statute. I'm not going to order the ban from the State Street Langdon area or the curfew. But you should realize that being out, I believe it was 3 or 3:30 in the morning when this was alleged to have happened on what I believe was a school night. Nothing good typically happens after midnight. So if you're home, being where you need to be, getting the rest you need for school and all of that, I think you'll find yourself in better situations. I will enter not guilty pleas to counts 1 and 2. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Next is Michael Brandy.
Mr. Brandy?
This is the state of Wisconsin versus Michael Brandy Jr., 26 CM 660. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Michael Brandy appears in person by counsel attorney Erica Becker-Rose from the Public Defender's Office. He has received a copy of the complaint. We waive its formal reading. We would change the address on file to the 1819 Aberg Avenue, and he does qualify for public defender services.
You said he is eligible?
Yes.
Okay. So you have the right to have an attorney represent you, sir. You're eligible for the public defender. They're gonna work on getting somebody assigned for you, okay? Find probable cause in the complaint. What are the state's recommendations?
The state has no objection to a signature bond. I would ask for non-monetary conditions that the defendant be banned from the 300 block of Clyde Gallagher Avenue. I would further ask the defendant not possess or consume any alcohol. Given the violation of bail, I would also ask the defendant be referred, to Dane County Pretrial Services for remote alcohol monitoring.
So signature bond, a ban from the 300 block of, you said Clyde Daly?
Clyde Gallagher.
Clyde Gallagher Avenue. And you said that was in Madison?
I believe it is in Madison.
You said no alcohol and pretrial services?
That is correct.
Okay. And on behalf of Mr. Brandy?
We have no objection to the signature bond or the ban from the 300 block of Clyde Gallagher. I would argue against the alcohol monitoring. I don't believe that pretrial services is necessary here. I do think that's a very onerous condition, and although there are some allegations of alcohol use, I don't think that alcohol monitoring is necessary at this time.
All right, any response from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Well, I'm not gonna do a signature bond. The conditions violated that were violated are the same ones I'm being asked to order today, with the exception of pretrial services. I think it would be foolish to order the exact same thing and expect a different result. So I'm going to order $250 cash, a ban from the 300 block of Clyde Gallagher Avenue in Madison, and the condition that Mr. Brandy not consume or possess any alcohol. I won't order pretrial services at this time, but it's something that could be ordered in the future, okay? I will. I'll enter not guilty, please, to counts 1 and 2. Then, if you need a moment to speak with the client, you can
Yes,
take that.
and Your Honor, could you repeat what you stated for the cash bond?
$250.
$250. So. Thank you, Your Honor.
I'll enter not guilty, please, on Mr. Brandy's behalf, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
Next is Joshua Sutter.
Yep, that is it.
This is the state of Wisconsin versus Joshua, how do you say your last name? Sukup?
Sukup, yes.
26 CF 708. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Joshua Sukup appears in person by counsel attorney Eric Becker-Brose from the Public Defender's Office. He has received a copy of the complaint. We waive its formal reading. The address on file is correct, and he is not eligible for public defender services.
All right. So you have the right to have an attorney represent you in a case like this. You're not eligible for the public defender, but if you believe your circumstances change and you might be eligible, like for example, the loss of a job, you can call them or contact them in the manner that we provided you on that paper and ask them to reevaluate you. I find probable cause in the complaint. What are the state's recommendations?
The state has no objection to a signature bond. I would ask for non-monetary conditions that the defendant first not operate a motor vehicle, and second that he not possess or consume any alcohol.
We have no objection to either the signature bond or the non-monetary conditions, Your Honor.
Then I'll order a signature bond with the conditions that you not operate a motor vehicle and that you not consume or possess any alcohol. I'll enter not guilty pleas or a not guilty plea on count 2. Count 1 is a felony. Will the time limits be kept or waived?
We will keep those, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll keep those time limits in place then. And we are.
He's saying I can't, correct?
We are adjourned. Thank you.
Next is Troy Parker.
This is the state of Wisconsin versus Troy Parker, 26 CM 668. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Troy Parker appears in person by counsel attorney Eric Becker-Brose from the Public Defender's Office. He has received a copy of the complaint and we waive its formal reading. The address on file is correct and he does qualify for public defender services.
Okay. So you have the right to have an attorney represent you in a case like this. You're eligible for the public defender. So they're going to work on getting somebody appointed for you if somebody hasn't already been appointed for you, okay? I find probable cause in the complaint. What are the state's recommendations?
The state has no objection to a signature bond. I would ask for non-monetary conditions that the defendant first have no contact with Tanisha J, spelled Tenisha. I would ask that the defendant be banned from the 1900 block of Londonderry Drive in Madison, and that the defendant not possess or consume any alcohol.
Your Honor, we would ask for a signature bond, but we would have a disagreement about the ban from the Londonderry address. I would note that he has no significant criminal history and no failures to appear. There appears to be a bit of a dispute as to what happened and the extent of the injuries. There's a bit of an inconsistency between what the officers observed and what TJ stated occurred. I think it's important that he's able to return home so that he has a place to stay, but I don't have any concerns about his ability to return to court. So I would ask for his ability to return to the Londonderry address and have it be no acts or threats of violence towards TJ rather than a full no contact.
All right, any response from the state?
No.
Okay. Well, I think the state has a strong case given the admissions at the end of the complaint. There's also the additional fact that the 72-hour no contact was enforced. This appears to be a dispute that started over alcohol or the withholding of alcohol. But I'm not confident that just ordering the no alcohol condition will be sufficient. So I'll order a signature bond, the conditions that Mr. Parker, you have no contact with Tanisha J, and that you're banned from the 1900 block of Londonderry, I believe it was Drive. And I'll also order that you not consume or possess any alcohol. I'll enter a not guilty plea on your behalf, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
So you'll get.
Next is Sonara, right? Hey, this way, sir.
Right, that's perfect.
It's gonna be a little while, you'll need that, so you're eligible for the public defender. Someone will get in contact with you. But right now, they don't.
Right?
This is the state of Wisconsin versus Sonara Wright, 26 CM 670. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Sonara Wright appears in person by counsel attorney Erica Becker-Brose from the Public Defender's Office. She has received a copy of the complaint. We waive its formal reading. The address on file is correct, and she is eligible pending verification for public defender services.
All right. You have the right to have an attorney represent you in a case like this. It looks like they're verifying whether you're eligible, but if you are, they'll get somebody appointed for you as soon as possible. I find probable cause in the complaint. What are the state's recommendations?
The state has no objection to a signature bond. I would ask for non-monetary conditions that the defendant first have no contact with Maya L. And that the defendant have no contact with Krish, spelled Krish, last initial M.
M as in Mary?
Yes,
Okay. So a signature bond and 2 no contacts, is that correct?
that is correct.
All right. On behalf of Ms. Wright.
We have no objection to the signature bond or the non-monetary conditions.
All right. I'll order a signature bond with the no contact with Maya L and no contact with Krish M. I'll enter not guilty pleas on your behalf, Ms. Wright. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Amanda Tomlin.
This is the state of Wisconsin versus Amanda Tomlin, 26 CF 709. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Amanda Tomlin appears in person by counsel attorney Erica Becker-Brose from the Public Defender's Office. She has received a copy of the complaint. We waive its formal reading. The address on file is correct, and she is not eligible for public defender services.
All right, you're not eligible for a public defender, but if you believe that your circumstances change, you can give them a call and ask them to reevaluate you, okay? Otherwise, you can take the finding that you're not eligible to the clerk of courts and ask for county representation, and they'll evaluate you to see if you qualify for county representation, okay? I find probable cause in the complaint. What are the state's recommendations?
The state has no objection to a signature bond. I would ask for the sole non-monetary condition that the defendant not use or possess any controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription.
We have no objection to either the signature bond or the non-monetary conditions.
Okay. So Ms. Tomlin, if I order that you not use or possess any controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription, that means no drugs. And it means if you are found with drugs, you'd be in violation of this bond, which could lead to a felony bail jumping charge, okay? Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Is that a condition you can comply with?
Yes, it is.
Okay, do you think you might need an additional support like pretrial services and they can conduct drug screening? I think some people help them, that extra accountability helps them comply with the condition better. If you'd like to talk with your attorney, you can. I'm not going to order it unless you'd like me to in a case like this, okay?
She would not request pretrial services, Your Honor.
Okay, then I'll order a signature bond with the condition that you not use or possess any controlled substances or drug paraphernalia. I'll enter not guilty pleas to counts 2 and 3. Count 1 is a felony. Will the time limits for the prelim be kept or waived?
We'll keep them, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll keep those time limits in place then, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
Next is Miranda Watkins.
This is the state of Wisconsin versus Miranda Watkins, 26 CF 700 and 26 CF 713. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Miranda Watkins appears in person by counsel attorney Eric Becker-Brose from the Public Defender's Office. She has received a copy of the complaint. We waive its formal reading. I see that there are 2 different addresses on file based on the 2 complaints. The one on Eastgate Road is the one that is correct. And she is eligible pending verification for public defender services.
So you have the right to have an attorney represent you in a case like this, ma'am. The public defender is going to verify the information you provided. And if it all matches up, they'll get somebody appointed for you as soon as they can, all right? I find probable cause in the complaints. What are the state's recommendations?
I will be requesting $500 cash bail in each case. I will also be requesting in each case the sole non-monetary condition that the defendant be banned from all Alta locations. In terms of support for that cash bail, I would note that the defendant now has 2 very similar, obviously based on the non-monetary conditions requested by the state, cases here in Dane County. They're both felonies. The defendant also has openly felony retail thefts in both Outagamie and Winnebago County. The defendant does have prior missed court. It's from a little over 3-4 years ago. It looks like one's from November 21st of 2022 and May 1st of 2023. In those situations, the defendant had been able to post about $250 cash bail before missing court. So I do think, given those factors, some cash bail is appropriate here, and I think $500 in each case is worth it.
Okay, and the other condition was banned from all the stores.
That is correct.
Okay. Response?
Your Honor, we would ask for either a signature bond or a low cash bail, such as $100 in each case. I would note that she doesn't have any recent failures to appear. It also appears that she has some sort of hold happening here. I don't think that she will be necessarily getting out. I would note that she is presumptively qualifying for public defender services, which means she is indigent, and $500 per case is quite a large amount of money. I do think that I'm not particularly worried about her ability to appear because those failures to appear are 3 to 4 years old. She has been quite consistent recently.
All right, any response to the state?
No, Your
Honor. Well, my clerk tells me that at least one of the warrants is for a missed court appearance. There's 2 out-of-county warrants for similar offenses. I do have concerns about Ms. Watkins' motivation to show up for court, and also to comply with the conditions of bond. I'm going to order $500 cash in each case and a ban from all Alta stores. These are both felonies. Will the time limits for the prelim be kept?
We will keep the time limits, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll keep those time limits in place then, and we are adjourned.
Next is Carl Mosby.
Mosby?
This is the state of Wisconsin versus Carl Mosby, 26 CM 667 and 25 CM 2444. In 2444, we are past the initial appearance. We're here for a bail bond hearing. The 26 CM case, we are here for the initial appearance on that case. Can I get appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Carl Mosby appears in person by counsel attorney Eric Becker-Brose for the Public Defender's Office. He has received a copy of the complaint in the 26 CM case, and we waive its formal reading. The address on file is that 3348 address, and he does qualify for public defender services.
So you have the right to have an attorney represent you on a case like this. You're eligible for the public defender, so they're gonna work on getting somebody appointed to you as soon as possible. I find probable cause in the complaint, the new complaint, the 26 CM case. What are the state's recommendations in each case?
In each case, I will ask for $200 cash bail. In the newer case, I would ask for the sole non-monetary condition that the defendant not use or possess any dangerous weapons, as that term is defined by statute. In terms of support for that cash bail request, the defendant was on bail as well as on a bench warrant status. That was for a missed court appearance on February 13th of this year. That case had the specific condition that the defendant not use or possess any dangerous weapons, as that term is defined by statute. The defendant here, while on warrant status and while on bail, was not only caught committing a new crime, but was caught with a dangerous weapon in violation of that bail. So I do think that some cash is appropriate in both cases.
All right. Response?
Your Honor, if I could have a moment to speak with my client.
Absolutely.
Your Honor, we would ask for a signature bond in the new case or up to $100. My apologies, signature bond or up to $100 in each case. I would, for the new charges, I would note that he was compliant with the officers and allegedly complied immediately. Although it is alleged that he did not give a correct name, they were able to identify him immediately. In his older cases, he has no failures to appear. I do understand that there was a missed court appearance in February, but it appears that his only failure to appear on his record. I would note that he is indigent. I do believe that $200 is more than is necessary to ensure his appearance, given his prior history of appearance in court. I would also note he's lived in Wisconsin for over 40 years. I understand if you believe that cash bail is appropriate, given the additional charges, but I would ask that it be no more than $100.
Okay. Any response from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Well, as I've said before today, I'm always concerned when we have bail jumping. And here we also have a failure to appear. I haven't heard anything about why Mr. Mosby failed to appear. And if you're not aware, it's your responsibility to show up for court whenever court is scheduled, and that's what you're agreeing to when you sign a signature bond or any sort of bond like that, okay? Here, I think $200 cash is appropriate, and I'll order that Mr. Mosby not use or possess any dangerous weapons. In the older case, there's a $500 bench warrant issued, so I'm going to order $500 cash in that case. With the conditions that Mr. Mosby not have any contact, direct or indirect, with DHP or LAT, and that he shall not be in the 700 block of Rethke Avenue, and he shall not possess any type of dangerous weapon, as that term is defined by statute. I'll enter not guilty pleas to the 3 counts in the new case, and with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Next is Kyle.
I don't know what's going on. I'm drinking enough water. No, I can be dehydrated.
You.
This is the state of Wisconsin versus Kyle Hume, 26 CF 472. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Kyle Hume appears in person by counsel attorney Eric Becker-Brose from the Public Defender's Office. He's received a copy of the complaint. We waive its formal reading. The address on file is correct, and he does not want public defender services, but has agreed for my limited representation today.
Okay. Yep.
Thank you.
I find probable cause in the complaint. You have the right to have an attorney represent you for a hearing like this and future hearings, okay?
I do.
If you'd like the public defender to represent you in the future, you can apply to them. We'll give you some information on how to do that, just in case you change your mind. What are the state's recommendations?
The state has no objection to a signature bond. I would ask for non-monetary conditions that the defendant be banned from all farm and fleet locations.
It looks like there was a co-defendant. Is there any request for no contact with that co-defendant?
Doesn't usually hurt. Yeah, I'll add that.
Your Honor, we have no objection to the signature bond or the ban or no contact.
Okay, I'll order a signature bond with a ban from Farm and Fleet that you have no contact with Stephanie Roll. This is a felony. Will the time limits for the prelim be kept away?
We will keep those, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll keep those time limits in place then. And it looks like you're starting to stack cases, sir, okay? So I'd encourage you to do your best to get these cases taken care of, all right? All right. And with that, we're adjourned. Thank you.
Next is Justin.
No, you got those. Yep.
This is the state of Wisconsin versus Justin Crutcher, 26 CF 704. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
Justin Crutcher appears in person by counsel attorney Eric Becker-Brose from the Public Defender's Office. He has received a copy of the complaint and we waive its formal reading. The address on file is correct, and he does qualify for public defender services.
All right. You have the right to have an attorney represent you in a case like this. You qualify for the public defender. They're going to work on getting somebody appointed for you as soon as possible, okay? So looks like there's also an extraditable warrant from Illinois for theft. There's a hold for DuPage County, at least according to my sheet. What are the state's recommendations?
The state is going to be recommending $5,000 cash bail. I'll ask for non-monetary conditions that the defendant first not use or possess any dangerous weapons, as that term is defined by statute. I would ask that he not use or possess any controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription, and that he not operate a motor vehicle without a valid driver's license. In terms of support for that cash bail, as the court noted, the defendant does have an extraditable warrant out of Illinois. Based on the information the state has, it appears the defendant has no real ties to the state of Wisconsin. It's also a particularly strong case given the defendant's confession to the felon in possession charge, which does carry a solid amount of exposure on its own. Given those factors, the state does believe that a substantial amount of cash bail is necessary to assure future appearance at court dates.
All right, response?
Your Honor, we would ask for at most a $500 cash bond here. I understand that there's a concern about the lack of connections to Wisconsin. I would note that he is currently on a hold here. He also has no Wisconsin criminal history. It looks like after the search, he was very cooperative and apologetic, cooperating with the police. I will note that there is a PSA in this case that does recommend a signature bond. So again, I understand the concerns. I would ask for a signature bond or up to a $500. Again, I understand the concerns, but I do think that he will continue to be compliant with the police.
All right. Any response by the state?
No, Your Honor.
All right, looking at the PSA, considers this a 3 out of 6 on the new criminal activity scale. They have Mr. Crutcher rated a 2 out of 6 on the failure to appear scale. It doesn't consider the current offense violent. It notes, at least in Wisconsin, there was no pending charge at the time of the offense. It does note that Mr. Crutcher has prior misdemeanor and felony convictions, no prior violent convictions, and no prior failures to appear. Mr. Rogers, can you unmute and let me know, does the PSA contemplate out-of-state charges when it comes up with its release recommendation? And you're muted again. There we go. Mr. Rogers?
I'm sorry, can you hear me now? It's showing it's not muted.
Okay, I can hear you now.
Okay, yeah, we do consider out-of-state records that we find in the PS portal program.
Okay.
But sometimes the out-of-state records don't have a clear layout of what the conviction was, or if there was a conviction. In those cases, we would not count the out-of-state charges if we don't have verification of the conviction.
Okay, thank you. That makes sense.
You're welcome.
Well, these are serious charges, with a lot of exposure. There's also exposure for cases in Illinois. You know, while Mr. Crutcher was cooperative after being caught, that's the expectation. And I don't think it can blind me to what the allegations are. I'm going to order $4,000 cash with the condition that you not use or possess any dangerous weapons, and that you not use or possess any controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription. And I'll order that you not operate a motor vehicle without a valid license. I'll enter not guilty pleas to counts 2 and 3. Count 1 is a felony. Will the time limits for the prelim be kept or waived?
They'll be kept, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll keep those time limits in place then, and we are adjourned.
Next is ANDREAS J VERRIOS.
Well, this is the state of Wisconsin versus ANDREAS J VERRIOS, 26 CF 710. Can I have appearances, please?
Cameron Davies for the state of Wisconsin.
ANDREAS J VERRIOS appears in person by counsel attorney Eric Becker-Brose from the Public Defender's Office. He has received a copy of the complaint. We waive its formal reading. The address on file is correct, and he does qualify for public defender services.
All right, you have the right to have an attorney represent you in a case like this. You're eligible for the public defender. They're gonna work on getting somebody assigned to your case as soon as they can, okay?
Yes, sir. For sure.
I find probable cause in the complaint. What are the state's recommendations?
The state is going to be recommending $5,000 cash bail. I'll ask for non-monetary conditions that the defendant first have no contact with Paige P. Paige is spelled Paige. State is also requesting a ban from anywhere that Paige P resides or temporarily occupies. State would also request that the defendant not possess or consume any alcohol, and that he not use or possess any dangerous weapons not dangerous weapons, that he not use or possess any controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription. In terms of the criminal complaint we have right now, there are 2 Act 3 eligible offenses. It's outlined the defendant held the victim hostage for multiple days and battered her multiple times, with threats to kill her and her family. Defendant has a criminal history out of Sauk County with a prior failure to appear from February 1st of 2024. Given those factors, the state is concerned about the need to protect this victim from the defendant. I will also note, I've been receiving information while this has been going on. It does appear that new reports came in just within the past hour or so about this incident date. The state anticipates issuing charges related to this incident, including second-degree sexual assault against the defendant that occurred at the same time as this. So given those factors, the state believes the need to protect the victim is only increasing, the exposure of the defendant is only increasing, the violence of this incident is only increasing, and there is a need for substantial cash bail.
All right. On behalf of Mr. Verrios.
Your Honor, we would ask for a $500 cash bail, and we have no objection to the no contact or the no possess or consume. Understand that these are Act 3 charges. They are serious allegations in this case. I would note that he has no previous convictions for a violent crime, and that although there is that failure to appear, it was explained due to a hospitalization. I think that a no contact with the victim is I think that that will help with any concerns about safety. I don't think there's concerns about the wider community. I understand the need to protect the victim in this case, and I think a no contact will assist with that. I can't say anything about these anticipated charges because I don't know more about those. But again, I'm not particularly concerned about his ability to continue appearing in court, and I do think that a no contact order along with a cash bail around $500 would be sufficient to both protect the community as well as ensure his ability to appear in the future.
All right. Any response by the state?
No, Your Honor.
Okay.
Your Honor, on the my client's request, he would request a signature bond.
Okay.
Okay. I would rather just.
These are pretty serious allegations. I think $5,000 cash is appropriate. I'll order no contact with Page P in any place where Page P resides or occupies. I'll order that Mr. Verrios not consume or possess any alcohol, that he not consume or possess any controlled substances or drug paraphernalia without a valid prescription. I'll enter not guilty pleas to counts 1 and 3. Count 2 is a felony. Will the time limits be kept or waived?
They'll be kept, Your Honor.
Okay, we'll keep those time limits in place then, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
That's everyone's bet.